World News in 5.
Right now.
News and developments making headlines around the world in 5 minutes. World News in 5. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Good day to all of our listeners here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. This is World News in 5 and I'm your host, Steph Vicente. Iran says no negotiations with the U.S. are scheduled in the coming days as it focuses instead on carrying out a previously agreed memorandum of understanding. The CNN reports Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ismail Baghai said Tehran's priority is to ensure key provisions are implemented, including those related to oil sales and access to frozen assets. He noted that the U.S. has already issued licenses tied to Iran's oil exports while efforts are ongoing to secure the release of Iranian funds. An expert delegation from Iran is set to travel to Doha later this week to follow up on those implementation steps. Baghai emphasized that both sides have not yet moved to final agreement talks, which can only begin once several conditions in the memorandum are fulfilled. He also clarified that any reported U.S. visits to Qatar are not connected to Iran's delegation or its current efforts. In other news overseas, large parts of Venezuela hit by last week's powerful earthquakes are still waiting for substantial government assistance, forcing residents to lead rescue efforts on their own. In the hard-hit port city of La Guaira, the BBC reports people have been using basic tools to search through rubble for missing relatives and neighbors as tens of thousands remain unaccounted for. The death toll has climbed past 1,700, with officials calling it the deadliest natural disaster in the country's history. A magnitude 4.6 aftershock rattled nerves early on Monday, though no additional damage was reported. International aid teams have joined local volunteers, but hopes of finding more survivors are fading despite a 21-year-old man being rescued after more than 100 hours trapped. Anger is also growing among residents who say government response has been limited, with security forces visible in the streets but largely absent from active rescue operations. And finally, Russian missile and drone attacks across Ukraine have killed at least 8 people and injured dozens more, according to Ukrainian officials. Al Jazeera reports Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky condemned the strikes, calling them horrific, as he reported that a missile attack on the city of Dnipro left at least 5 people dead and 28 others wounded. Local authorities said one of the victims was a 13-year-old girl and many of the injured suffered serious trauma, including head injuries and shrapnel wounds. In a separate drone strike on Zaporizhia, at least 3 people were killed and 6 others injured, according to authorities, and that includes a child. Ukrainian officials also reported additional attacks in several other regions, underscoring the continued intensity of the conflict. Meanwhile, Russia says its position on peace talks remains unchanged, insisting Ukraine withdraw from contested areas and abandon its bid to join NATO. And that concludes today's edition of World News in 5. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this has been Steph Vicente. Good day and stay safe, everyone.
World News in 5.
Right now.
News and developments making headlines around the world in 5 minutes. World News in 5. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.